Yup.
Am I positioned well? Do I have
You're good. It's live now, so you're good.
good?
You're good, dude. You're fucking
Good.
good. Good.
Good. Good.
It's good. Ah, fuck. I only got one more day of work, and then I go on vacation.
I'm done.
You're done? Oh, you don't have to work tomorrow?
Nuh-uh.
You bitch. I hate you.
Why do I get a commercial?
Oh, you got sucker. Well, that's
My own stream.
I guess
Oh,
that's
your
good that
stream.
you have my channel whitelisted. That's fucking cool.
I don't really use ad block.
Oh, dude, you're polluting your
Oh,
world.
can't really see my gear in the back. Let me adjust the settings.
Yeah, I'm drinking an Anheuser-Busch beer tonight. It's not a
What's your problem?
my
Is
problem.
that Goose Island? Is it Goose Island?
No, it's Golden Road.
Golden Road. So what should I turn up to get the backlit now? Exposure?
Yeah, it's gonna blow you out though.
I went way
I
too
told
high.
you. I told you.
I no, I just clicked it up way too far. That's all.
Hey,
It hasn't
Torley's here.
it hasn't blinked up in the stream yet. Yeah, I think I went up a little bit more. Should be better.
I mean,
I
I can see it. It's just not lit like mine because I have different light sources. I have a backlight and then the front light and then the side light.
I just go. Well, we both got our hats on, except
Which
mine. Mine is out to the back instead to the side. I can't really.
I put mine to
There we
the
go.
side because screw it. It's Christmas in a couple days.
Let's see. I wonder if mine's on the same side as yours. I'll put it to the
No,
other
they're
side.
opposite. That's perfect.
Okay.
That's how it works. We are here with Tech Talks episode 3, the holiday edition. And the only
This
reason
is
it's holiday is because of the hats.
hats and the season.
Well,
This is
well, we
Chris
could be doing
with
it in July.
Coalition Gaming.
And I'm Homebrewed Hero, the Homebrewed Hero, the one, the only, the majestic Homebrewed Hero.
Mike's coming in good.
Yeah, everything's looking good on the levels over here. If it's too quiet, someone in the chat will have to yell at us and tell us we're a bunch of fucking apes and we don't know what we're doing. But whatever. So until somebody does that, everything's good. No drop frames, no nothing. So all right, we got a couple things we're gonna talk about.
A bit of things. I want to start off actually,
Uh-oh.
just because it's something I wanted to talk about, and I feel it's a really weird position. I want to talk about the i3. I think it's a 7350K KB Lake overclockable i3.
Probably.
First of all, I believe that Intel is bringing back an overclockable i3, which hasn't been around in a long time,
Damn.
because of the threat of Zen. Because supposedly they claim that this little quad core could beat, sorry, this little dual core hyperthreader could beat the i5s previous to it.
Maybe.
That's a pretty big,
It's a
pretty big
bold
claim.
statement.
Yeah, it's a very bold statement in my opinion, especially with compared to like an FX 8350, which yeah, it's already not that hard to beat it, but when you come to multi-threading, how
Right.
can an i3 beat it? You know?
Well, that's the $1 million question right there. I don't know necessarily that they're doing it because of Zen. It could be. We are fucking apes. Thanks, depravity.
That's just my little conspiracy theory behind it.
No,
Honestly,
it could be.
time.
I mean, it depends on how the manufacturing process goes. If it's anything like the GPUs, where it's just a different processor that didn't make the cut to be a higher up one, then they're like, oh, we'll just unlock the hyperthreading functionality in it.
Well, no, I mean overclocking.
Or overclocking, sorry. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant. Overclocking functionality on it.
Yeah. So there's
be.
that. I mean, obviously there's a market for it, but my problem with it is they're pricing at 100. The Rumen pricing is about $180.
Jesus
And
Christ.
seriously, an i5 is like $10 more, $20 more.
Why would you not get an i5?
Exactly. Even if an i5 like 6400, like the non-overclockable i5 version, there's still ways to overclock it, so you're still going to get better performance in
Right.
single-threaded and multi-threaded. It's just going to beat it. It's just in a really weird spot to me that why would Intel do that? If it was just maybe $20 cheaper than that, then it'd be a lot more significant. 50 bucks under the next one up. That's justifiable.
Yeah, but $10. I mean, look at
10,
the
20
thing
bucks,
at the thing that we talked about last week with Rusty, right? Going from an i3 to an i7. That's a huge jump, no doubt. But even if we turned off hyperthreading on his i7, I mean,
The clock,
just the more cores alone helps him run newer games. Older games, that aren't multi-core optimized as much, no problem. But
no, for sure.
but moving forward with games, everything's going to be multi-core
Taking advantage
optimized.
of that.
Yeah,
none of
so
that. None of those Pentium overclockers. None of those guys. I have a Devil's Canyon G3258. I think that's what it was, and I can go to 5 gigahertz. Who cares? Your game's gonna error out when it only sees 2 threads.
Right. I feel very dirty right now because I'm drinking an Anheuser-Busch beer out of a Modern Times glass, and it's a fancy glass. It's got like gold leaf on it, and it's elegant, dude.
You're gonna have to wash that glass really good when you're done.
It's a good beer though. I mean, Wolf Pup's a good beer.
Where's the holiday whiskey?
It's back behind me. Maybe at the end of the thing, I might grab it real fast. I'm not sure.
I think my problem with it at the LAN party when I drank it was I put it in my big ass cup and it like hyper accelerated it into my mouth as I drank it because I had so much distance to travel.
It was like our friend Torley drinking vodka out of the ice sculpture boob. It rocketed down his throat and he was gagging. It was pretty bad.
That's it.
It's pretty bad.
Gagging on a boob,
Yeah.
You never think.
Hey, the vodka rocketed out like a missile. Well, we have some
nectar.
good. No, it is sweet nectar. We have some really good news if you're into skirting the law. Kick-Ass Torrents is back.
Yeah, I'm not much of a torrenter. That's kind of more you thing.
What are you talking about? I don't do any of that.
That's kind of somebody like a friend of yours that that torrents a lot. I think.
Yeah, I think so. That's not some guy in Texas. I just talked to him a lot. No, yeah, they're back, and it's actually with the core group of people. Bud Light, get out of here, depravity. Get out of here with Bud Light. Not even PBR. Bud Light. Jesus. No, well, yeah. Anyways, Kick-Ass Torrents, it's back, and they kept the core group of people around. All the people who were involved with it before. It looks the same. They had to rebuild the code, I guess, from the ground up. But yeah, if you're used to using Kick-Ass Torrents, it's back. So again, if you like a product, buy it, or a movie, buy it.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I still do that for the most part. I still buy CDs for the artists that I really like.
I buy CDs still because I want to rip them into lossless. That's a big thing for me. Lossless audio with a good set of headphones, man. Lossless audio is no joke.
Like these Sentis.
Yep.
Just kidding.
Yeah, those are real high quality. They're not like my Quincy Jones AKGs. These things are fucking stupid expensive, but they sound like sweet nectar in my ears.
Is that the one you use with the mod mic?
Yeah. Which the new mod mic's out. That's another thing we talk about. There's a new mod mic.
Is that the mod mic 50 something?
5.0.
That's it. There's a 5 and a 0.
Yeah, it's the 4.0 is the one I've got. The 5.0 is the new one. Basically, it's got a quick disconnect on it, so when it connects to the headset, you don't have to have the long ass cable. You can just disconnect the cable, and you can do that. So no, we don't need your Kahlua. Torley in the chat made for our LAN party that's on the videos on the Coalition's channel. He made this Kahlua drink that's basically a White Russian without any half and half. So it's just a lot of vodka and a lot of Kahlua.
But then you just put the half and half in it.
Why not just mix it together when you're going to drink it? That's my stance, because it's like when I smelled that, I was like, I do not want to put this in my body.
What if you just mix it together in your stomach so you get Kahlua half and half? Kahlua.
That's if you want to drink half and half, dude, go for it. That's a bad idea, though.
If there is only half and half in my fridge after I tried that flashbang, I don't know, man. It could have happened.
We had flashbang at the party though, and we were fine because we had it with real food.
Well, I meant like on the chip.
Oh yeah. If you don't know flashbang,
there's no milk. There's no milk. There's only half and half.
That is bad, dude. Now, flashbang's no joke. If you're not familiar with it, it's 3.5 million Scovilles. I had to double check it. It's 3.5 million Scovilles, so it's as hot as a Carolina Reaper. It is so good, though. The flavor's fantastic. But, yeah, it's hot shit. It is hot shit. So, what do you think about smartwatches? Because there's kind of a trend going, I think. I feel like smartwatches are kind of dying off.
I'm a big fan. I have my Sony smartwatch right here, but I am in a very interesting category. You see, that's my my Sony smartwatch 2. I don't want the smartwatch 3. I like the smartwatch 2. Want to know why?
Why? Tell me why.
I'm not a big fan of Android Wear.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think it just got it does not complete in a way. I mean, I know it could do a lot and it could do voice stuff and all that, but I'm really just after the bare essentials when it comes to smartwatches, and I don't want all these extra fancy features, and this one can do it.
Dang.
It's in my notification, I can answer calls, I can send reply texts, I can look through all my stuff. It does have like a traditional home screen, and it looks like Android. You can like swipe through and you can get little plug-in apps. You look at pictures. It has a swipe down. It does everything, and even Sony moved away from their own proprietary OS. And the compatibility with this is amazing. It just works. I had one previously that had its own version of a full version of Android on it. It had its issues. This one just works, and it's great.
All right. Do you think Android or Google could win us back with Android Wear 2.0? Because they just announced they are doing 2 flagship watch devices next year, and they'll be the first devices to get 2.0 Android Wear.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I believe that Google's always going to be making improvements to it, and I think 2.0 they're going to have a lot of the things that I want in it.
I mean, let's look at what Apple did. You know, the Apple Watch. It's like the first gen was a joke. Everyone knows it. You know, there were a lot of features that were missing on it, and it's like, oh, it's the Apple Watch. It's so rad. No, it's really not. Then they finally come out with, you know, better battery life and moisture water resistance. It's,
yeah,
you know, I don't know. To me, I feel like maybe the smartwatch market is kind of a niche market, and it's not going to survive for too long. You know, there's a couple people out there that kind of agree with that line of thinking, that it's another gadget, you know. Like, well, I'm all for wearable tech, because I mean, I have my Fitbit, you know, it'll tell me my heart rate, and then just my nerdy ass Casio G-Shock. So it's, you know, the more cool gadgets, the better.
I think as a niche, it's gonna stay there for a long time, but as far as like a high end accessory, no way.
Yeah, and see, for me, that's the thing, is it will never, a smartwatch will never replace, you know, something like my my Diesel. You know, it'll never replace an actual timepiece. It's not going to happen. Like, for me, I think having a watch that's mechanical, that has a real movement in it, it's better than, you know, having a phone attached to your wrist, so to speak. You know,
I'm a weirdo. If I had this does everything I want, because I'm more about digital watches, and this is a digital watch, and it works without even having to turn the screen on, because it's a transflective LCD.
I do like that. My G-Shock works without having to turn it on. It's a digital watch. I think that they're cool. You know what's funny though is Google won't announce who they partnered with to do the manufacturing. They won't be marketed as Pixel devices or Nexus
watch.
Yeah, they won't be marketed as that. They already flat out said they're not going to do that.
Kitty Zoom smartwatch.
Kitty Zoom. Kitty Zoom. Dang.
Also, what's up, Justin? Long time no talk.
Yeah, long time no chat. No chit chat. So I think that's kind of cool. Now, you're an Android person. I'm not. I have an iPhone. But did you see what came out on the Google Play Store?
Well, yeah, you mentioned that. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic.
That's right. It's basically tailored for that sort of usage.
Oh, dude, it's so, because a guy compiled, like, one dude compiled it, and it's not a heavy application. It's really not a heavy application. It's
probably when you
perfect.
Start running tons of people through it, it starts bogged down. Maybe
it did that on even like on a brand new rig. If you run it in like a VM box to run it on XP, it still runs like, you know, when you get enough sprites going, it runs like garbage. It happens. Ooh, good lord.
Yeah. Get a burger and hot Cheeto burps.
It's $5 on the store.
$5?
Yep.
I guess. Damn, Justin.
Dang, that's no joke. That's no fucking joke. Fuck.
Well, I get. This weekend, I'm going to give my nephews presents. Nephew and niece.
Okay.
Well, one nephew and one niece.
Okay. How much have you been following the autonomous car stuff? You know, everybody's getting into it, it seems. You know, Google's now getting involved, or they've been involved for a while, and they've been piloting it in Vegas.
Actually, that's the thing. That's the thing. Google's getting out.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, is they're now backing out, which is really interesting.
Just because their lead guys took off to go make their own autonomous driving companies. You'd think there'd be like a clause in the contract or something like, hey, you can't just work here and then leave and make your own company with the same concept.
Maybe they're like Bender from Futurama, you know, screw you, we'll make our own company with blackjack and hookers. Forget the blackjack.
You think Google would let them do that? Google's cool like that.
No, I don't think they'd let them do it. I mean, they're going to do it regardless, and they might just have to deal with the repercussions of it, but whatever. I think it's interesting, though, that Google had far and away the best technology for it in the smallest package.
Oh, well, yeah, especially when you combine it with their already like done mapping system and stuff like that.
Yep. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like when you look at the Google car, it's ugly looking, like it's stupid, but all the sensors are hidden in the array on the top and in the bumpers and mirrors and all that other shit.
Yeah.
But when you look at the NVIDIA system that's now being road tested in Canada, that's an ugly system. Like, I get it, it's a proof of concept to show that it can be adapted, but it's ugly as sin. I mean, it is absolutely ugly.
The thing I found interesting too was I had read some comments on it, and some people said that, like, why would Google continue in this space when there are other companies already further along than them?
It's true, but Google has the clout to make it a mainstream thing. I think that's the biggest thing that people like. I was hoping for. It's like they have the ability to make it a real deal thing.
Yeah, they just buy those companies.
You know, not just some Jetsons like, oh, hey, cool, like his boy Elroy. Like, I want a real car that'll, take me where I want to go. Like, if I want to go and I don't have, there's no steering wheel in it because the Google car had no steering wheel. I go to a brewery, be like, all right, I'm hammered. Screw paying for a freaking, an Uber or a Lyft. Be like, car, take me home. Like, that'd be rad.
Yeah, I know. Torley's listening, and that won't work with the horse.
No.
Horse, take me home.
Well, where I live and where you used to live, I've seen people do that.
They would, but if the cop could figure it out, then if they were a dick, they can still give you a ticket.
Yeah. No, I know. I've seen people do that. Like, the horse is like leading them. Like, the horse is just kind of walking all slow home, and the dude is on top of the horse, just like, yeah. It's no joke. It's no joke. It actually happens. It's bad, dude. I do like the name of the NVIDIA car though. They call it the Autonomous. I think that's fantastic. Like, I just, I don't know. I really like that name. I really like that name.
They better just keep going with the whole moose and like name puns and stuff.
Oh man,
what would be another name pun? Let's see, Autonomous, and then each system in it is like pun named. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something to go with sensor, but.
Like, they need to keep that up. Like, have like a system that's like a obstacle avoidance, but like call it the bear in mind system. And, like with the fucking like Kodiak on it or some shit. I think they just did that because it's in Canada, Autonomous. But I fucking love it, dude. I fucking love it. It's actually pretty cool. It's the first car, according to the news blog or news blip about it, is that it's the only one approved to hit roads underneath the province of Ontario. I believe that's where. Ontario Ministry of Transportation. It's the only one that's been approved to hit the roads underneath their automated pilot program.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was seeing some of that. What was throwing me off, though, is all the steering wheel talk. Like, below certain miles per hour, you put your hands on the steering wheel? What's that about?
That's the Tesla. So Tesla, I don't know if you've ever followed the Tesla autopilot system, but...
A little bit.
So there's YouTube videos out there where people are playing chess, or like a guy and his girlfriend are like having like a picnic, inside the car, and the car's driving itself around in traffic. Okay, so because they've gotten some bad press because it failed to prevent a collision when a big rig crossed in front of it from an angle on an unstriped road, the car didn't sense it, so the people in the car died. It's unfortunate. Ugh. But it's the cost of progress. I know that sounds morbid, but to make breakthroughs and things, you got to crack some eggs, and it sucks, but it is what it is. But anyways, before, you could basically set the autopilot to do up to 90 miles an hour on the freeway with no interaction. Like, you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel. Like, that's the thing, is in the user's manual, you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel. Because when you're driving, even though it's in auto mode, basically autopilot, if you get in an accident, your insurance doesn't care what mode it's in. You are the meatbag in the car that's supposed to have control of the vehicle should something arise.
That makes sense. So it's like, well, at least stay alert in the vehicle. Don't just be like, okay, right, you're driving to my side, go to sleep.
Right, and that was the thing, is the speed limit, it didn't matter what road you're on. So if you were on like a divided highway, like let's say you're driving through, Joshua Tree, or a place that's like 2 lanes with just double yellow line down the middle with no K-rail like a freeway, you could set it to do freaking 90 if you wanted. And there'd be, you wouldn't have to have your hands on the wheel. It basically would allow you to do that, and it'll auto steer in traffic. So, it'll follow the road and avoid vehicles to maintain its speed. It does all that stuff with the autopilot system. It's pretty robust. But basically, you basically were allowed to break the speed limit, all the time, which I think is a good thing, just solely for the fact that when you get on the freeway, especially here in California, the speed limit's 65. I don't remember the last time on a clear day or on anything like that when I was able to get on the freeway and only do 65.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, as long as you can, it's more like about obeying the flow of traffic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to create an unsafe environment for all the other drivers too. That's the thing.
But
If you're going too slow, it's unsafe for everybody.
I don't know why it didn't click in my head, but with the person paying attention in the car with their hands on the steering wheel, even though the car is driving automatically, that means the meat bag is the backup system.
Right. Yeah, it's you're the redundant system.
Yeah,
It's
that
one of
makes
those
sense.
convenient things. I think it's a convenience thing. But basically, they're pushing out this new update to the firmware for the car, but it also includes the new autopilot. And basically, it's designed to keep you from speeding too excessively. If you're going below 45 miles an hour, so like on side street, things like that, it'll nag you and it'll say hold the steering wheel every 5 minutes if you're on a straight road. And if you don't, because there's sensors in the steering wheel and it doesn't sense that you're holding the wheel, right? It'll disable the autopilot, so you have to regain control of the vehicle.
So
Right.
it's like constantly checking that you're there.
Right. So if there are curves on the road, the system then accounts for the lateral acceleration and tell you it's like, oh, you're hitting a corner. Put your hands on the wheel, like it because it'll still turn and follow the road. But if it senses that there's a turn and it exceeds whatever the threshold for their lateral G's is going into a turn, it'll make you put your hands back on the wheel. Otherwise, it'll disengage the system.
I wonder how jarring this could be if you're not paying that much attention.
Well,
It's like beep 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 beep. Put your hands on the wheel now, now, now.
I don't know how big of a nagging system it is, but I mean the thing with the Tesla that you have to remember is there's no resistance on it. It's a brushless motor with sensors. So when it cuts the current, whatever you're rolling at, the mass is going to carry it. Whereas in a gas powered car, you still have transmission
way
drag
resistance.
and everything else. You don't have that in an electric car. That's why if you've ever been in a Tesla, it's the weirdest feeling in the world when you pull up to a stoplight. And you can turn this setting off, but when you pull up to a stop sign and or a stoplight and you want to creep up a little bit, right? And you take your foot off the brake, the car goes nowhere. Like it stays put. Like you just take your foot
Right,
off the brake and the car just sits, right? So
Yeah.
Tesla has a system called creep to accommodate that. So if you've forever been driving a gas car like everybody has, the car will creep like it's a gas powered car when you let off the brake.
That makes sense. You figure too that they would just introduce some drag into the system and just be
Right.
like, regenerative braking or
Well,
something like that.
they do have I believe they have a regenerative braking system in them. And
Yeah,
another
but
thing,
like run it stronger to make it feel like it's a
Right.
driveline loss.
right, do like they did in the Porsche 918. LaFerrari, they do that when you're off the gas, the regenerative kicks in,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's more aggressive than just a mechanical drag. So,
Oh.
but here's the other thing too that they're doing. So if you're going over 45 miles an hour, right, it'll hold the steering wheel alert after 1 minute if your hands are off of it and there's no vehicles for it to follow. So basically, if the camera just sees striped lanes ahead, right, and the shoulder, the median, whatever, it will automatically tell you after a minute, hold the steering wheel. And then it'll do that every 3 minutes if you're following a car. So if you're driving to Vegas, it's no longer like, hey, guess what, dude? Put it in autopilot and kick back. Like, you got to keep your hands on the wheel.
I bet you'd be in there. You'd be like, "Oh man, this is gonna be chill. I just get to relax in the car." And then you get into like, "Put your hands on the wheel now."
See, and like I thought about this today when I was thinking of things to talk about. I really thought it's like no, if I was driving that far, long distances on that road because I used to drive it a lot, I would not trust an autopilot system for the way other people drive.
Oh yeah.
Because all the other wild apes and savages in the vehicles around you, or the people in a freaking minivan full of kids wanting to do 95 going up Baker Grade, it's like, do you have a death wish? Like, really? I don't trust them because they'll weave in and out of traffic thinking they drive like, a 350Z or, the Hyundai Genesis that's two-door or something like that. They think they
I have
can
the
just...
perfect solution.
What's that?
If once the electric cars become a little more prevalent, they should have sensors or a system that will communicate with other electric cars so they can travel in somewhat of a group, and that way you have less of a risk of outsiders screwing you all up.
Oh, I want it to be like NASCAR, where you're like inches
Or
from the
like
dude in front of you, and the cars are just like, oh, the road hazard ahead, and they all start like progressively slowing and giving each other distance. That'd be
NASCAR
rad.
mode. But that's I think that idea would help because it would just help help avoid other vehicles like a truck or something like that. That's erratic drivers. It'd just be like they communicate with each other as well on some kind of a network.
Well, I mean, the system we already have in place is law enforcement.
Well,
Like,
I guess, but I mean, imagine
like,
if there's like a handful of electric cars, and you have one a few miles up, and it sees an accident, and it could communicate to other electric cars in the area within a certain radius that there's an accident there.
right,
Move to this side, move to that side, slow down to whatever, you know.
right. That's a good. I think that's a good idea. I think that's I think that's the way it'll eventually go. If what
When it
people are
becomes
saying is going
when
to
it,
potentially come
when it
true.
becomes Skynet.
Yeah, when people with their tinfoil hats saying that they're going to ban all fossil fuel burning cars by this date. Good luck.
I'm gonna make my own, or actually, Eric will make his own and be like, Cummins, first gen, mechanical.
Screw that, dude. If I like, what are you going to do with the people who have the old cars that are maintained religiously? Like that car. If you're talking about greenhouse gases and emissions, that car that's been maintained, that you keep that old beater running, is better for the environment than a brand new car when you factor in the cost and the CO2.
Oh well, the footprint.
The carbon footprint which you get when you
Yeah.
mine the metals, when you process the metals, when you
Like
ship the metals, when you fucking
the
put
batteries.
it together. Yeah, I mean, even a freaking a cleaner burning diesel like what you got, something that's not horrible because it has a DEF system. If you have
My brother hates it right now.
if you have a vehicle you can maintain, then maintain it and keep it going because it's better overall for the environment. So the whole thing of like, oh, we're gonna ban all gas cars because they're horrible for the environment. It's like, okay, how do you want to make that a reality so we can all get electric cars and not kill the planet mining nickel or
And
manufacturing?
California's gonna be like us first.
Probably, but I think China I think just did an initiative to force more Chinese manufacturers for their cars to adopt electric systems because the pollution's so bad there. I think I read that today.
They have a much bigger problem than anywhere in the United States.
Oh yeah, well, where do you think a lot of the pollution comes for us?
Kind of blows over.
Kind of blows over. If you look at the I mean, don't get me wrong, because of where California is, because of the coast, the mountains, and everything like that. Like we trap a lot of shit from L.A. and Oakland and all that other stuff.
Right.
So yeah, what's up, Troy? I see a monkey and a crash and boom. I agree, crash and boom.
And his sleepy dude. Oh, I think Tori wants us to move on to another topic.
Well, we can. But
A ton of news.
well, I don't know. The other thing too, Tesla did is they're charging 40 cents a minute when you use a supercharger. So after your battery's full, it's an idle time charge. So if you leave your shit parked in a stall and it's done, they're going to charge you 40 cents a minute.
I'm okay with that because it costs them a lot of money to install that and have that system in place, and somebody else could be charging.
And think about it,
sitting on it.
Yeah, if you can't run it, that sucks, dude.
Move your damn car.
Now the last thing about the Tesla, on highways, the speed limit doesn't have a direct effect on the autopilot speed. So yeah, because the autopilot ties into whatever the speed is. So you can't go more than I think 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. So speed limit
in
65.
some places it's different. So let's say it's 65, in some places it's 75.
Right.
So
Well, they've programmed it in using data. I don't know exactly. I don't think they're using cameras yet to read the numbers. They might be, but I don't think that's how they're doing it.
Probably not.
Yeah, it doesn't have an effect on it. You can still run your car up to 90 miles an hour on highways, not freeways, but highways. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
what's the 1080 Ti rumors?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It's basically going to come out during CES. It's kind of a given, more or less, but
it's coming out next month.
I think it's kind of cool that they're going to be like, "Hey, 1080 Ti, you 980 Ti people, you guys get the first crack at it."
If you applied for a position with NVIDIA.
What? I thought
there's a caveat. They may end up doing like a general public early adopter kind of deal, but the way I read it is they had several job openings on LinkedIn, and that was one of the perks. You get early access to the device if you're part of their program.
Oh, I thought I saw something about it's simply having being a verified owner of a 980 Ti gets you access to the first batch, not like pre-release or anything, but after release.
Maybe that might be the case, but it's up in the air with that because it could be kind of like the EVGA early upgrade or the
step up program.
Yeah, step up program. That's it.
Yeah, but that's with if you buy a card and a new one comes out within 6 months.
Right. Now here's the thing with an Eric or one of the guys in the coalition, Tech Lancer. He has a Zotac 980 Ti. Right, his
You can
is
see
a
the box
Zotac.
is right behind me. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's right behind me. See it? Let me
it,
see.
the other way.
Other way.
There you
There
go.
it is.
Yeah. So here's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's the box. So
Since it's not an NVIDIA manufactured card, right? It's the partner card. Could he potentially still do that?
I would think so. Uh, you just have to have proof of ownership. Probably UPC. It's still a 980 Ti. I think they would honor that, but they just give you a founder's edition instead. You know.
Oh darn! You're gonna have to twist my arm to have me to take that. I mean, the card itself. I mean, if you don't know how they manufacture graphics cards, my understanding is every single graphics card for every generation, basically since they introduced the Titan, it's a Titan die essentially that doesn't meet the testing,
Well,
so they neuter it out to be
yeah, that
whatever.
or
Yeah,
that, and eventually they'll cut it down or disable stuff on purpose
right,
once like demand for one outgrows the other.
right, right. So it's like the
Um,
660 Ti's. I don't remember; those were just a 680 basically. They were a
I thought it
neutered
was I thought it
680.
was I thought it was a neutered 670.
Well,
Well, then again,
the
the 670
670s.
was
I
neutered
mean,
680. So.
yeah, but I mean that kind of started it all. And then when they came out with the 8 series was when Titan first was introduced.
They skipped the 800 series. It
Okay,
was in
7. Yeah,
700 series. Yeah,
700 is when Titan first came out. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, and ever since then, every single card you buy is basically a variant on the Titan die.
Well, for that specific one, like I believe that one was a GK 110 or something like that, and
Right.
they'll say that these three models are GK 110, and that's how you know that those ones are the cut down version of each one. And then the one that comes after that, it would be like GK 111.
Right.
That one is not a cut down version of the other ones.
Right.
So what is interesting is Nvidia is just barely releasing a 1060, which is I believe GP 106 based, which
Mm-hmm.
is the full die. That's the big
Yeah,
brother,
that's
like
the
the
big one.
1070 and 1080.
Yep.
The 1060 itself was a different die altogether, the way
Right.
it started. And now that the demand for the 1070s and 1080s is starting to settle down a little bit, they can take the ones that didn't bin right and make them 1060s.
Right, and that price gouging's finally going away slowly, but it is going
Yeah.
away. Well,
People are like, "Oh yeah, I'll just wait a month." Yeah, right.
no, we're talking 6-7 months before the prices actually become realistic.
Yeah.
Torley says he's looking for a new card
You start
potentially
looking for a new card. Yeah. He thought about it like a 950
because you have a
950 once the other day, and I'm like, no,
because you have I think he has a 670.
670. It's a
Yeah.
670 for the Win LE
Yeah,
EVGA card, but I mean, it's still okay for a lot of the games.
yeah. It's it depends
I
on the
think-
monitor too. If he's not running a 1080 monitor,
Oh, he's running 1440 by 900, so
so that gives him
so
a
I
little
think
bit of leeway.
a little bit of leeway for sure. But I think sorry to say this, Torley, but now as we're getting into heavier games, I think your processor is holding you back a little bit. So we could probably looking at overclocking it a bit, because that one I think it only runs at like 3.3 gigahertz. It can go to probably 4-ish. I was
Oh,
told
we can make it hit 4. He's got that H100 on there. It'll hit 4, no problem.
Yeah, because I did a little research already on that motherboard and that processor, which is an FX 6100, and people say it can get into the low 4s with that board.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see that being a problem.
Yeah, and so then I wouldn't worry about a graphics card so much yet until we get into that. And then if after that stuff is still not satisfactory, then
Well,
go
yeah.
from there.
By that point in time, I think too, with what we just said, graphics card prices are going to stabilize.
Oh yeah, and definitely with AMD and Vega and more stuff coming out early next year, it's just going to be a consumer's market.
No, I agree. I completely agree. I think that the Titan. Do you think this is an interesting thing? Do you think that the Titan coming out at CES? Do you think AMD is going to show up and kind of spoil the party?
Yeah, absolutely. That's when I believe
They're going to do
really
Vega.
gonna come out.
All right. Because I mean the rumored specs, which makes sense for the 1080 Ti, base clock of 1503. That makes sense. With the boost up to 1623, and this is from a pretty reliable source.
I thought the boost would be higher.
Right, but because this is why it's not though. It has 3,328 CUDA cores. So since there's way more cores, the boost isn't going to be quite as high default.
It's just it's doing more per cycle.
And look at the problems that have been out there with the 1080s and 1070s that are going around. I don't know if you've seen that the memes on the internet, dude, of them like the 1080s on a barbecue because they run hotter than shit.
Yeah, I didn't think they were that bad. Are you talking about the blower ones?
Yeah,
Well, I guess
hotter than hell. Hotter than hell. But basically 10 gigs of RAM as opposed to the 12 gig on the Titan, and the Titan has 3,584 cores. So you're getting a neutered Titan, and if they come in at around $900 price point, because I think the Titan's still 1,200, 1,300. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be the card to get if you have the deep pockets. I think that's the biggest.
Yeah, thing. I don't even like to think of it as a neutered Titan, considering the fact that
every card's a neutered Titan.
Well, no,
in a sense.
In a sense, sure, but I mean, if we're looking at it in terms of neutered Titan and next to each other,
right?
The 980 Ti, the Zotac, outruns the Titan of its generation because of its factory overclock. It doesn't matter about the cores and stuff like that.
Well, and the GPU boost helps with the right cooling, because you got to remember when this 1080 Ti comes out, it's going to be on a reference style blower.
Yeah.
So when you get partner cards.
At least with the 1080 Ti's, they're allowed to do partner cards. If you notice, the Titans don't.
I think it's because Titans, whatever people want to say, this is my opinion on this, but I think that the Titan really isn't designed for gaming, and people want to buy them for gaming rigs just to be getting a pissing match with their buddies and be like, I got a freaking Titan. Dude, that's a co-processing card for a workstation. Call it what you want, but that's what it's for.
Yeah, it's a Quadro.
Yeah, it's a Quadro. It's a Quadro that's not a Quadro, right? Like
that's what Vega is right now.
Right. And it bothers me because people get all like, oh, I got to have like 3 Titans in SLI. And I think, hey, it's cool that Jay's 2 Cents has like 3-way SLI with Titans, but it is so overkill. It's so overkill. Nobody needs that.
It's a bencher's thing, but then again, they have competitions for benching, so people do make money doing that.
I don't think he does. Because he has too nice of a build to get into that.
He's not a benching guy. He's a YouTube guy. But other people that they're not YouTubers, they are benchers, and they do bench competitions, and they need all the cards and all the SLI they can because they don't care about playing games. They just want to get points.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, I know, right? They're like, I want this high-end graphics card. I don't want to play any games on it, though.
Yeah,
it's
right.
just on benchmarks.
Right. It's like the people like we talked about last week. Oh, hey, we've got this AMD processor. We hold the record for highest overclock in the world. Oh, yeah, how'd that go? Oh, liquid nitrogen on 1 core. Cool. Like, that's so impractical. It makes no freaking sense.
But then again, it's a competition, proof of concept, and for a lot of, like, especially in tech, that's really what matters, at least just to get the foot in the door.
And it does trickle its way down to the consumer level, because think about it. 4 years ago, I think we saw the first consumer motherboard that was delidded. That you could actually take
processor.
No, the actual board
motherboard?
Where you still had to delid it, but you didn't, because you remember the way that the lockdown mechanism on it works. It rides the side of the die.
Yeah.
They had an adapter that you put in so you could run just the die. It didn't have to have the metal cap on it, and you could mount the cooler directly to the die. I think Gigabyte made it. It was something that was something that people were doing in the extreme overclocking realm. 5-6 years ago, and it's made its way into new motherboards. New motherboards have support for completely delidded processors.
Like you're talking right. So you're saying it's a change to the socket.
No. Well, it's a change to the it's an adapter for the lockdown mechanism.
I see what you mean. Right. I misunderstood at first. I thought you were talking about the whole ZIF plate and the LGA.
No.
That stuff. You're talking about just the way that the processor would secure to the cooler would secure to the processor without the lid on it.
Correct, because AMD is different, because the way AMD, with the pins, it locks in with the pin lock, right?
Well, I mean, it's almost the same thing. It's a lever.
Whatever. Right. But with the Intel, the way it rides around, it's like a frame that kind of like holds it in, right?
Yeah, that metal frame.
Right. So the delidded motherboards, they support that, and you can run a full delidded.
It wouldn't even be that big a deal if Intel kept using the proper thermal interface material between the lid and the damn die.
We should talk about that right now. I didn't have that in my list, but we should talk about that.
That was absolutely 100% fixed by Devil's Canyon. They were working on it since it became an issue with Ivy Bridge, and I guess the later parts of Ivy Bridge just started getting better and better and better through Haswell.
Yep.
But Haswell was never a big overclocker anyways. And then it got to Devil's Canyon. Devil's Canyon was like, this is our overclocking stuff. We're gonna do the best stuff with it. And they ran cooler than the previous like Haswell refresh ones.
Right.
And it was because of the thermal interface material.
Yep.
And then they're going backwards with Kaby Lake.
Well, and that's the thing is like, remember when we were in Geek Squad, we talked about that. We were like, dude, seriously, what are you thinking Intel? Like, why are you doing this? You're fucking up. You went from a proven technology in Sandy Bridge, with a bonded cap, with quality thermal interface. It's a solder. It's bonded. It's not just, it's physically connected. Then you bring out Ivy Bridge and you're like, oh, energy savings. Oh, your battery life on your laptop's going to go through the roof. And it's like, okay, well, that promise made a bit. Going from a Sandy Bridge laptop to an Ivy Bridge, freaking night and day. Absolutely night and day difference.
I mean, as far as terms of like battery life, sure, yeah, but I mean, performance.
Performance was negligible, right? But that's the thing is like when we were in Geek Squad, I was like, can you believe they're doing this? Like they're fucking up. This is not cool. And and lo and behold, these people got a hold of these samples, and they started benching them. Same thing that's happening right now. They benched them. And were like, yeah, the thermal interface material they're using there is shit, or it's poorly applied, or it's this, or it's that, and it impacts what you can get because I'm pretty sure the new Intel stuff has the same thing we talked about with Zen last week. We were talking about the active boost, the demand. So it's kind of like GPU boost where they'll bump up the frequency.
I don't think the Intel has it. I think they're still going with their old school way to do it.
Okay.
Their proven way.
Yeah, their wattage and multiplier.
I've heard no chatter about Intel changing their turbo style.
Well, even if that's the case, you would think that they'd want to stay well within their predefined thresholds, not let these chips... Because the guy who did it, the guy with that processor, he got that processor up to like 98 degrees. Right, you showed me the chart on it, and I was like, "This is obscene. This is not."
Yeah, and it was just ridiculous what's going on with that. Now they're caught red-handed again, trying to cut corners.
Oh well, Camilla, you just gave us a very good segue. We actually have PC Gamer's Game of the Year thus far.
I'm gonna take a cue from you. Go ahead and announce it.
The list is still ongoing, but you want to take a guess on the Game of the Year? It is not Gears of War 4. Anyone in here want to take a guess?
Zalman, anyone? Go ahead and type out a guess for Game of the Year.
You got to give him a second because there is a delay.
Yeah, that's right. TikTok. Well, you got to play that Jeopardy thing. The guitar.
All right, he's not going to say it.
He's busy. He's actually working right now.
Oh, shit. Well, Game of the Year for 2016 is Dishonored 2. Garbage. Absolute garbage.
I mean, maybe the game may not be that bad, although it had its issues at launch, but it does not deserve to be Game of the freaking Year.
Game of the Year, like, look at previous Games of the Year. Skyrim. Like, oh, damn. Depravity is a big Gears fan, and I've said it since I saw the stuff for it. Gears 4 is not Gears, any of the other. It's not Gears 2. Like, Gears 2... I think it was the best one. Battlefield 1 is not even on this list. Just so you know.
Weird. Battlefield 1 it should have been in there somewhere.
But the list is still ongoing. They're doing one every single day for like different awards for different categories. Like I don't think they've done best. Yeah, it's not completely done, but Game of the Year is done.
Oh, so Game of the Year is for sure.
Yeah, so the ones I'm going to go down the list, are voted in, and this is what people at PC Gamer have voted in.
Do it.
Best strategy game, XCOM 2.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
XCOM 2 is a good game. I'm okay with that. With that. When I saw the stuff for it, I was like, this game is legit. Like, yeah, it's legit. Like, you actually have to strategize. Mm-hmm. I was kind of hoping that they were going to throw in the squad. All right, Depravity. Gears 2 was asked. Gears 1 then, even though it had host advantage.
Okay, anyways, keep going.
So anyways, best puzzle game, The Witness. Or The Witness G. I don't know if it was a typo on their end, but...
I don't really know that game, but I'm thinking it's like, more indie or something like that. Probably. It's like a Penumbra, something like one of those adventure games.
Yep. Now, you have to remember, though, this is for PC. So it's not just like best game for consoles and everything. It's PC Gamer Game of the Year. Best short form game, Inside. I'm assuming that's like a platformer. Potentially. Short form. I'm not sure what short form means. Maybe it's a short game like Dear Esther. I don't know.
Yeah. What game was that again?
Inside.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it any good?
From what I've heard about it, yep, absolutely. Especially, I remember hearing about it and being like, I want to play it.
Now, here's one that is near and dear to my heart. Best racing game. Forza Horizon 3.
I'm not as big of a racing game person, so
It's a good
that
game. I'm not going to say
is
it's a
that
bad game.
winning its category?
It's that these are the games that have already been given it. So that is the best racing
Oh,
game of the year. It's Forza
okay.
Horizon 3.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Forza Horizon 3 is a good game, but it's the same thing kind of with Dishonored. Like, Dishonored was junk when it released, and it's still a shitty game. But Forza, because it's basically a port and it's running DirectX 12, that game has given me more headaches than any game I can recall playing other than Crysis.
I guess then they're trying to take it objectively and be like, let's not factor the issues. Let's not
But
factor the issues.
see, and that's kind of a freaking loaded thing, because when you go and you look at the forums for Forza Horizon, dude, it boggles my mind how many people are having the same problem I have, and the devs are just like, oh fuck it, it's a hardware problem. No, it's not a hardware problem. Like, it drives me crazy, drives
Yeah.
me nuts. I don't agree with that one. I think that there are other titles out there that are better. Maybe some of them aren't being given consideration because they're early access.
Yeah. So then, in your opinion, then what should have been Game of the Year?
Well, I'm not sure when it actually is released or has released or however you want to call it, but Project Cars or Assetto Corsa, those are more legit racing games. Or even the game Jopie and Rusty play, the F1 racing. That game is legit too. Now, they might be older titles, so they wouldn't be eligible for this year.
Project Cars is 2015.
Okay. What about
And
Assetto Corsa?
Assetto Corsa.
Yeah, that might be
Oh,
2015
I
as well.
see. I was spelling it wrong. 2014.
Ooh, and those games, I still think that they're better.
Yeah.
Still
So
think they're
I
better.
guess maybe 2016, and we're all like, well, I guess this is all we got
Yeah,
for this
right.
year.
Well, fuck, bring me a MotoGP game. Oh,
But meanwhile, Game of the Year, there's way other better choices.
yeah,
I mean,
Dishonored.
I understand that Doom, it gets best comeback, sure.
Yeah,
But
Doom got best comeback. But that's
and
even
that's
then for me, it's not a comeback, it's a new game.
yeah, it's just the game in the series. They didn't come back. It was just another game, and that should have been Game of the Year. That could have been Game of the Year.
I think Doom, if you're going to go over the list of eligible games, I would say Doom definitely should have been in consideration. Now, this is a tricky one because of when it was released, but the BioShock Remastered, I mean, maybe that's double dipping, like, oh, hey, BioShock Remastered, BioShock came out in what, 2008, 2009?
I wouldn't. I mean, it's not an original game at this point now.
But the remastered version is basically a new game. I mean, it's 1080, 60 frames a second. The textures are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It just came back out. I mean, I guess that's kind of like saying Skyrim Game of the Year Edition should be maybe labeled Game of the Year, but
right. My problem with that is just like how Star Wars was always re-releasing the movies in the theaters and being like the movie of the year, Star Wars. But wait a second, it originally came out 20. So shouldn't count. Sort of kind of.
When did
Besides
Battlefront
that,
come
win
out?
an award?
Which one?
Battlefront. Didn't BioShock already originally win?
Oh yeah, it won
awards
Game of the Year when
back
it
in
came
the day?
out.
Sure,
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, like,
but that wasn't for PC though. That's my thing. Is it wasn't for PC gamers. That was like overall Game of the Year from another.
What game did you say right now? What year did
Battlefront come out?
I'm pretty sure that's 2016. Battlefront, 2015.
Jeez. Okay, so yeah, maybe they didn't have a lot of titles to go over. Like, I'm sitting here thinking over games that were PC available as well.
I mean, I guess Battlefield 1 could have been on there.
Gears 4 would have been eligible.
Gears 4.
That game shouldn't win it, but
I mean, but either
sorry,
way,
Camilla.
those three, I think, are still higher. Should be higher ranked than Dishonored.
Oh yeah, no, I think Doom, if you want to be objective about it, Doom, as much as I love that game, I think it should have won it solely on the foundation that it's running Vega. The developers are actively involved in the community. Vulkan. They're actively involved in the community to make the playlists better and listen to feedback and really support the longevity of this game. It's not like Battlefield 1 where they're like, oh yeah, we know there's balance issues. We'll get to that eventually. Like, I think Doom should have been Game of the Year personally. It's the biggest thing that id Studios could have done. It's legit. Let me see what else. Best writing, a game called Firewatch. Best expansion, I'm okay with this one. They gave it to The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine.
Yeah.
because of their model.
Very...
They give what's their company called? Red something.
Witcher?
Yeah, the developer for Witcher. What's the company that releases it? It's Red
I
something.
gotcha. CJ Project Red.
Project
CD
Red.
Project Red.
That's it. CD Project Red. Yeah, their whole model of DLC is like, oh well, you bought our game, well you don't have to pay for it.
That was the old Call of Duty model too.
Well, and then Activision got greedy as hell, and could you imagine like a new Tony Hawk? Guess what? You get this one guy. Oh, you want this dude? DLC. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But yeah, best comeback, Doom. And
yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, and they fit the category, sure, but it's a comeback in a way, and it's also not a comeback.
I don't think it's a comeback because it's like, what were you coming back from? It's
yeah,
not.
You could have said the same thing about Wolfenstein last year,
right? I think the story mode for Battlefield 1 is good. I think it's better than previous Battlefields, but that's not saying much.
It was always an afterthought.
Yeah, Battlefield has always been a multiplayer game. It's like if you tried to wedge it. It's like Titanfall. I haven't played it. Titanfall 2.
Well, I guess we can more compare to Call of Duty, where those games were really well done single player.
The story was written well.
Yeah, like the action was really engrossing, especially like when I first played Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2. That was hell of fun on single player.
Now I've heard they've screwed with the story though. It's not quite as good as they used to be.
Right. I mean, the quality of those games have gone downhill since those days.
They're money grabs, dude. They come out so frequently. They're money grabs.
Well, I mean, never mind. Like 3/4 of the studio left, and that's what Respawn Entertainment is.
I know. I feel bad seeing these games. It's like, oh, which game is that? Oh, it's the new Black Ops. Oh boy, it sure looks like Titanfall. Oh no, this is Titanfall too. Well, that looks like the new Black Ops. Like Jesus, guys, come on, fuck.
Well, I mean, they're still running off of those devs engine that they created. So it's like until something new comes out between one of those two engines, they're gonna look similar.
Well, no, and that's but the art style. I mean, you could say that the engine renders similarly, but the art style in the games is like identical. It's like they're rehashing the same vomit over and over and over and over, and it's unfortunate.
But it kind of goes back to what I'm getting at there is that the guys at Respawn are all like, this is our shit. We're going to do it the way that we want. They're just doing it the way that we did it.
That's the same reason why Battlefield 1 feels eerily similar to Battlefront.
Oh, well, yeah. But, I mean, that was DICE both times.
Yeah, that's my point, though. Is you can escape it so far, but at least the art style is different. So when I'm watching the textures and watching the grittiness of Battlefield 1 compared to, like, Battle on Endor or some shit or on Hoth, it's totally different.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're comparing gritty and real versus sci-fi.
It's true. But they nailed the sci-fi well, and then they did the gritty and real really well.
Yeah. So that just shows you that they are very
they're robust talented as far as an art development team. And that's the thing I feel like Activision or whoever's doing the bullshit games now, they're not. It's the same garbage.
Torley's like, I'm sleepy. You're like, let's game already.
Fuck, Torley. All right, we have one last topic to talk about, and it's PC gaming versus console gaming. And we're gonna try to keep this maybe under like 10 minutes, but
I know that you do both, and I don't.
I haven't done both in years.
Well, you have been on the both boat before, where I kind of haven't.
Yeah.
Well, since the Dreamcast, at least.
Dreamcast is the shit. It's the best console ever made.
Yeah, but in Zalman, this headset right here is $38.
You're looking for 110. I will make one piece of advice to you: do not buy a Razer or a Corsair or any name brand headset. Don't waste your money.
Yeah, see. Well, we'll get to that headset topic in just a second. Anyway, so Torley, I'm with you on that PC, but I'm not one of those PC for life guys or PC, as much as PC Master Race is cool and all, as long as they're humble in their superiority, it's fine. But if you PC gamers are acting like they're so much better than console gamers, fuck them.
No, and that's the thing is I think it's funny. I think it's like, oh yeah, I mean my mouse mat and my wrist rest are glorious PC gaming race. They're cheap and they're comfortable, right? Compared to my Corsair mouse pad that I had that was a piece of shit that they didn't even stitch the edges on. Like, who the fuck does that? But anyways, if they actually released finances for 2016 based on market share. I have an Xbox too. It's a paperweight basically, Torley. But they released their market share, right? And I'll read you the little blip. The total market for gaming as an industry for PC by itself is $36 billion for PC. The entire mobile gaming, console gaming, I think was 94 billion or something like that.
So it's a third, basically.
It's a third, which is really cool because they're saying in the article that PC gaming revenue for premium games, not free games, hit $5.4 billion for the year. Not too
but the
off.
free games are still doing pretty damn good, too.
Right, and they go on to that. So they're saying that not far off compared to the $6.6 billion earned for consoles. So this whole idea of PCs being priced out of the average person's hands, I don't agree with it. I mean, and the numbers don't agree. The numbers prove basically that anybody can build a PC that'll play games, no problem, for not a lot of money.
I think AMD was pretty integral in that, at least with the APUs.
Yep.
For sure. I mean, AMD brought that. Intel was just freaking shit in the bed that whole damn time.
Yep.
They still are. That's why they're partnering with AMD now for integrated graphics.
I know what should have been Game of the Year. Based off of this article, I now know what should have been Game of the Year.
What's it?
Overwatch.
Moving on.
Overwatch earned $586 million.
But like, it's more than just money. Like Overwatch, it has I like the way that they tell the story within the game and everything that game is about, but I think it's kind of condensed versus what like a big world,
well, like Paladins,
long history is.
We enjoy Paladins and it's free, so that does kind of negate what I said. Is you can get a free version of Overwatch called Paladins, well, close to free or close to
similar game mechanics,
yeah.
but
it's
also
super
different.
fun.
Yeah.
But that one was the leader, and then it was CS:GO, then Guild Wars 2, then Minecraft, then Fallout 4, which is kind of interesting when you think about how much the game's brought in. Fallout 4 was the fifth one on the list.
I'm still shocked Guild Wars is up there.
Right? And I think that's just because of the paid content.
Yeah, probably not a lot. They're probably counting world. Well, is this US only?
This is globally.
Oh, then yeah, that makes sense. Guild Wars is. I understand now.
Yeah. Now they go on to say the real money remains in the free-to-play games. League of Legends tops the chart at $1.7 billion.
Man.
Right? Now think about this for a minute, though. This goes in with CD Projekt Red. They don't charge for their DLCs. Right? You buy the game and you're good. This is showing that free games, from a business strategy standpoint, free games make sense. Even if there's freemium shit involved in the game, it still makes sense.
I used to play games from a company that was their motto. Every game that they released was free to play, but they ended up doing it wrong on almost every release, and it was like always ended up being pay to win as opposed to pay for extras.
Was that
NCSoft?
NCSoft, yeah.
Was it NCSoft? I think it was NCSoft. We used to play a game called Dungeon Runners a long time ago.
Dungeon Runners.
Yeah, and yep, it's NCSoft. And I did a beta test for a game called Dirty Bomb, and that game was fun as heck. And then I found out once it released, it was going to NCSoft, and I'm like, they're gonna crap it.
They're gonna shit the bed, dude. And they did.
They did, yeah. And I mean, people do play it still, which is fine. But yeah, I remember playing that game. It looked great. I would post pictures in the chat back in the day. It was a very interesting way to play because it was a cross between like Call of Duty, Battlefield with objectives, like the way that it ran. And you had, anyways. So yeah, for sure, free games is definitely profitable. Always been that way.
Right, and it's like the list when you read down, you're like Dungeon Fighter Challenge. I don't even know what that is. I'm assuming it's that the game with the little sprites, right? That's a free to play game. I think. That's, I think that's that game. Crossfire.
Crossfire.
That's what I'm thinking of. You'll get caught up in like that's my thought. World of Tanks and Dota 2.
I was shocked to hear World of Tanks in there, and Dota 2 didn't surprise me.
Dota 2 brought in $260 million.
They're shaking their fist at Riot.
Yep, they're Riot for that one. Yep.
Yeah, and then Paragon is like shaking their fist at Overwatch.
Yep. I mean that I think that looking at it just solely from by the numbers standpoint, if your heart isn't set on exclusive titles, there's no point to do a gaming console anymore. Buy a freaking PC.
Yeah, see, the way I've always viewed consoles and what I've wanted out of a console was that I wanted a console that was more like in a way that could be reutilized like a PC or upgraded modular, in modular ways like a PC
Right.
or keyboard and mouse, or give us choices with
Right.
controls. Don't just stick us with the control and say that's all you get.
Right.
On a PC, I can choose. On a PC, I can pick a control or I can pick a keyboard and mouse. Let
Right.
me be the judge of that. And I think that would be really cool for consoles. And it feels like they're getting there.
No, they are because the a lot of like the PS4 and I think the Xbox support keyboard and mouse native. I think they do. I could be
Uh,
wrong, but I'm pretty sure they do.
the last I heard about that, and it was I've been wondering about that actually, was that Microsoft said it was coming soon, and they said not soon, like it was in no ETA. They said soon, like in within a matter of months, that it was already basically there.
It makes sense because
And
it's a PC. It's a mini PC.
yeah, yeah, and but then nothing has happened since then. So either they've introduced it quietly and nobody knows, because how many people plug a keyboard and mouse to see if it plays in the game on their console,
Everybody should.
or what? I think Unreal Tournament 3 back in the day on a PS3 had keyboard and mouse support built into the
I
game.
believe you're right. I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah, yeah. So developers, come on! I mean, it's probably just a freaking switch in
Come
the
on,
game.
come on, you idiot, go!
If they're not going to do it natively, I'm sure that in the code of the game they can turn it on. It's already coded for the same architecture as a PC.
Right. Torley, you are stuck with micro ATX if you stick with AMD. If you switch to Intel, you can go mini ITX. That's from the chat, by the way. If you're
Yeah, I
watching
know.
this and you're not,
Oh,
no,
right.
for other people, if you're just watching
Right.
this and yeah, it's or listening to it, it's from the chat. Someone was asking if they can go to a micro ATX.
No, he's asking if you can go mini ITX.
Sorry,
He's
yeah,
already
mini
currently at
ITX.
micro ATX,
Right.
but if you go mini ITX and you want to keep your case, which is a micro ATX case, then you're going to have the same size computer overall. You're just going to have a smaller motherboard inside, and there really isn't a whole lot of benefit to that, unless later on you plan on changing your case. But you barely got your case,
Yeah, I
so
think
why would you do that?
the mini ITX boards are like 165 millimeters across. They're small. I built
Oh
one for
yeah,
my sister. They're tiny. I can literally hold the
yeah,
mini ITX board in my hand.
I built on mine. It's like the motherboard is this big.
It's shenanigans, dude. They're tiny. They're cool, but they're super tiny.
Yeah.
To go back to Camilo's question, then we'll wrap this up. The headsets.
I'm really happy with this Senti headset, and it was under $40. Everybody likes the way my mic sounds. Overall, the headset performs very well, and it has what this is kind of I guess a cheater thing, and you might not like this so much, Bergs, but it has like instead of having like really good bass, it simulates good bass by having vibrational function for low range, which is I guess cheating, but it actually feels really cool, like for games at least.
All right.
For games like explosions, they rattle and it's like and it just kind of gets you in there more.
Now
For
that you
music,
said that, that
different
explains a
headset.
lot. Why if you're in the middle of an action thing and the chat's real quiet, I can hear like what sounds like this. Like it has like a. I don't know if you can hear it,
Yeah, I can hear
but
it's
like
like
you hear like a real low rumble, like through the mic, and I'm just like, what the fuck is that? Like it's taking me a while to figure it out. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Now I know.
yeah, they the mic, unfortunately, as clear as it sounds, they didn't give it a lot of echo reduction or
There's not a
that
lot of
such sort of
isolation
stuff.
in it.
Yeah, but which I think it's weird because whenever Joey is on talking, he has the same headset as I do. You never hear his.
Which
The vibration feature can be turned off though.
no, I know, and I think his headset. It could just be the way his levels are set up. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, I'd haven't messed with mine as much. He's more of an audiophile. I used to DJ, so
Yeah, well, and that's where I would suggest going personally, rather than going with like a gaming headset. Go pick yourself up a set of open back headphones, any kind that's $50, $60. They're gonna sound better than $150 Beats.
well, for sure, anything is going to sound better than Beats for the most part.
They're garbage. So buy
But
yourself some open back because then you don't have ear fatigue because number one they breathe and you get cooler air around your ears. The drivers don't heat up your ears.
I like this ones too. In that case, is because they're completely over the ear, so I don't get
Right,
any on ear bullshit.
right.
At least in Zalman's case, I know though that he's probably going to focus more on the gaming aspect of it versus music aspect because he has his Logitech surround, X360 whatever that he
You
listens to
say that,
music on.
but when you're sitting in bed and you finally discover the beauty of lossless audio, nothing compares to a good set of headphones. I'd say good set of headphones and a $50 mod mic. That's my vote.
That's fine. Yeah, that works.
I mean, I having had Corsair stuff. I've had the Corsair headset. I had problems with it. Cody had the Corsair headset. He had problems with it.
Eric hasn't had problems with it yet, but he doesn't
Yet.
use it as much.
Well, and that's the thing is, the new Void. Is that the headset? The new
Yeah, I think
Corsair?
it's Void. Uh-huh.
The headset looks rad, but I, in good conscience, can't spend any money on it, knowing that it's just another freaking wireless headset. Ooh, it's got LEDs. Whoop-de freaking do. Like, for me, audio quality is paramount. I don't care about the wire though, because any quality audiophile level headset, this cable's like fucking 12 feet long. I can walk across my room with this damn thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm saying like overall, probably my favorite headset from the past, and then I probably would try to get it again if I could. It just now at this point I don't want to pay for it because I like this one this much. Was the Logitech? I think the G930 wireless headset.
That's a good headset. Logitech makes a good mic.
Yeah, and everything was good about that headset. And the only reason I traded it in was to get the Tiamats, and then everybody hated my mic.
Your Tiamat had the worst sound in the world. For as expensive as a headset as that thing was, that mic was garbage. It was literally like this. Like, hey guys, I'm going to talk to you right now, and this is like, this is like a $200 headset. It sounds so good, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound good. Like,
I wish it had a detachable mic like my Creative Fatalities.
well, my freaking my Razer had that. My old Razer headset that wasn't wireless. It was just a plug-in style. That thing was the one that looked like the helicopter one. It was a Battlefield 1 exclusive headset. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, in this case, is that I almost felt that part of the mic quality on that was because I was using an onboard analog mic port.
Maybe, but honestly, I haven't noticed that big of a difference with the mod mic. Everyone's like, oh, you need USB, you need USB. So I went and I freaking bought this Creative Sound Blaster card, USB card. And as far as I can tell from my tests, I don't hear that much of a difference. It's a little bit clearer. It's got a little bit better fidelity, but beyond that,
I don't know.
It's just a limitation on the mic.
I was close to buying an entire new sound card to run that Tiamat headset because it was all analog. So
yep. But that's my vote for the headset. I think that's a good option. Chris's option's not bad though because his mic does sound freaking good for what'd you say, $30 headset?
$38 basically.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Overall, it's for the money. It's kind of hard to beat. For a little while, especially on sale, you can catch a Logitech headset. It's a gaming headset with a USB and like surround and a mic, and they were like in the $40 range, or maybe even less, $30 range. I seen them. Probably wouldn't be a bad choice, but I read the reviews on it, and they're pretty good for sound and mic, but they're not as strong overall. Like they'll break.
Right.
They're not as durable. And like this headset, I mean, it has an automatically adjustable head strap. I don't know, it's nice for the money. So if you're a budget gamer, this headset. If you want to do music and everything, you go with Briggs's recommendation.
Yep, that's my vote. That's how I would do it, for sure.
Senti Arches. The box is over here on this side, so you can see it right there.
I can annotate. I can annotate it and put a link in there, in the description sometime tonight or tomorrow. But I think that's going to do it for us. This is our holiday one, and it's Christmas, so Merry Christmas. I don't believe in the Best Buy logic if I can't say Merry Christmas to people. So Merry Christmas, everybody. If you don't celebrate Christmas, have a happy holiday.
I was shocked, actually, because I went to Wells Fargo, and they were telling me Merry Christmas.
What?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. Merry Christmas, everybody, and hope you guys have a safe one, good one, and yeah, happy gaming.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in, guys. We'll see you guys in a week. Catch you later.